Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is our new series, potentially new series, the Conquest videos, and we are taking a look at Sector 3 today, but the interest levels on these have not been particularly strong, so I don't think it's probably going to live on past this Conquest unless Conquest 16 turns out to be difficult enough to warrant the existence of this. Right now, I think part of the reason there's minimal interest is because this is a pretty easy Conquest. You can compare to the Sector 2 video to get a general idea of how these discs are changing. We do have some changes here. The stacking fervor, finally got one of those. We've had a couple opportunities to grab them, but every time it's shown up, there's been something else I prefer more. But I like this with certain squads that are very common in this Conquest. And we have this Republic Resolve, which allows your Galactic Republic characters to act like the Node Galactic Republic characters. So that's another one. And then we finally got a 1-dot mod. But data disk. We have very few of these this time around. Passed on a few things that I like, but we'll break that down very quickly. At the Big Fork, there was nothing particularly good here, but we got a green Valido. Here's a green Stacking Fervor. Unstable Decelerator, don't care about it, already have one. Another Stacking Fervor. So this is where we take the opportunity to grab that, and I do quite like Stacking Fervor. At the next crossroads, we have the Defensive Formation. This was just a bunch of junk between these choices. A bunch of grays and another Fortified. After the Boss Node, just things that we either already have or things we don't need. Volatile Accelerator is great with the right set, but I'm not building that set. It's like with the thermal exhaust, caustic emissions, you can build out a very powerful set with those, but it's also a set that is not particularly fun or good with accomplishing feats, particularly all these defeat feats, because they'll basically steal defeats, so I'm not interested. Solid Intel we already have. I grabbed the Volatile Accelerator just because I didn't have it, and I figured why not. The Solid Intel, maybe we could have stacked them, but if it was worth one, I would have done it, but at 2, I'm very likely going to be choosing 2 of those onto a set instead of swapping it out with anything else. And our first option at the start of Sector 4 was junk. I just grabbed the Ruthless Swiftness because at least that adds some turn meter and is somewhat usable, but very unlikely to use any of these. Here's the progress that we have on the feats. With the global feats, you can see we have a bunch more Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, and that is partly because he works very well within Sector 3. And one of the things I did today was I prioritized getting defeats with him, which I didn't do so much in Sector 2, which had Imperial Troopers, but because Moff Gideon is not a trooper, I didn't allow him to get too many, or I didn't prioritize him trying to get them. And then these other ones were fairly minimal. Most of these were spreading out for later. We're focusing really more on the sector feats. And what you see in Sector 3 is I don't have anything completed. I'm close on several, but it's because I spread out all of my attempts between all of these squads, and they don't really overlap. You get a little bit of overlap with accuracy up if you build out a right squad. Like if you put Scout Trooper onto the Iden Verso squad, then you could technically be hitting both of these, but the rest you're not going to have a ton of opportunities. And also, what we don't really have here is a very dominant squad that could carry the feats at low stamina, which is part of the reason why we have spread out all of my attempts between all of these feats, which we didn't see in Sectors 1 and 2, where we had Baudelaire in Sector 1 carrying these squads and feats through low stamina, and in Sector 2 we had Rebel Fighters with Leia. And to make that progress, this is what we utilized. I said we used Emperor Zurg here, this Moff Gideon squad. This was doing a little bit of accuracy up if you prioritize it by using the second special first, Unwavering Presence, that grants it to everybody. It's very effective at making some progress, and I recommend using it first just so that you get through the cooldowns, because this does beat some squads fairly quickly. You might not get 2 attempts, and you really would like to get 2 attempts as you go through these sectors. Actually, I misstated something. Scout Trooper has accuracy up in his kit, but I don't think he grants himself accuracy up. I think it's just synergy with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I was going off the SWGOH .gg list of characters, but that's not breaking down whether or not they grant it themselves or if they work with it, or if it's in the kit. So Zerg does do a lot of work carrying. The other squad that was doing a lot of work here is Trench. If you have Trench, that's great. He's going to help a lot, because the problem with Grievous is, yes, he's very strong. You're going to be winning those nodes. You're probably not doing it with 3 stars though, because you're probably going to lose a character and drop a star. Newt is fine if you have the right discs. Like if you have some good Zealous Ambition, you can build a really nice Newt squad that is going to be able to beat a lot of these nodes fairly well, but none of them is going to be as good as Trench. Or I guess if you have a fully Relic Geo squad, you might be able to do a lot, which I don't. What I have is Trench, and it's a ton of assists, which is why something like Stacking Fervor works very nicely, and it has a good amount of recovery and the revive from Watt, which came in handy a number of times because the stamina got low. I was losing characters. The We Adapt or Die, that's Iden. That's just that she's the only character that has that buff. And with Han, I was just using a CLS squad. It was a little annoying with slow progress because the Chewies were knocking out characters fairly often and typically. But I'd still made progress, and it's a very powerful squad that is a very effective counter up against the right teams. Now you can see a couple things I didn't use, although it would have been an option. Sirjunda Malikos, if you have this squad, it grants a bunch of accuracy up. It would have very quickly got you through that feat, and maybe it would have been worth me doing, but it doesn't overlap with other sector feats or global feats, so I didn't use it. It was there though in case it was required or I got stuck with stamina being too low. Could have happened once or twice. I didn't do it. We'll talk about the mini boss in a moment. The other thing that I attempted, and in the defeats it helped, but I couldn't beat anything with it, is I was trying to use a Gungan squad undersized. So I would not have gotten 3 stars, but I was still trying it out, and they just don't really work. They're great until the shield generator goes down, but as soon as that shield generator goes down, it falls apart. And that was basically what was happening, and it was just burning my energy. Now, as we went through these nodes, you can see we did pretty well. We dropped a battle on, where's one here? This one we dropped. This was with Iden getting very low on stamina. This would have been fine had she been higher, but we lost a couple characters. And then we lost node a little bit later here up against the Geos. This I think was with Gideon who dropped the star. Yeah, it was because Dark Trooper died and you couldn't revive him. But this is also late in the sector where Moff Gideon's stamina was quite low. I think he got down to like 40% or something. With the bosses, the middle boss, Bo-Katan, I have left off Hokey Religions, and that's because I'm coming back with this one. Because this one, I attempted it with Moff Gideon, and it almost happened. But I did this after the fact when stamina was already low. If you have full stamina on your Moff Gideon, I think it wins. The other one that we will look at the footage right now, Galactic Republic Jedi. This we overlapped with a couple feats to make some progress, and it was pretty effective. With the middle boss, the Jedi that we were using was this set here. We got Pow, and we have Master Qui-Gon, and that is because that obviously works with the global feat. It also works with accuracy up. Padawan at a minimum gives accuracy up. Qui-Gon, I think, does. I can't remember all the specifics offhand. And Qui-Gon does not. He synergizes with accuracy up. It's kind of the same thing with the Scout Trooper. It's in his kit, but he doesn't grant it himself. He just improves with its presence. So here, this is key. If you're going to attempt this squad, you need to take out Bo-Katan first. The helmeted Bo-Katan, which is actually one of my pet peeves in this game. I really want them to fix the character in the character selection screen has Bo-Katan without the helmet is Bo-Katan with the helmet in the squad battle, and Bo-Katan with the helmet, Bodalore, is without the helmet in the battle, which is just terrible. Just swap the models. I don't care. I just want it to coordinate. Anyway, so we're focusing on Bo-Katan here. It's taking a little bit of time, but this is why we have Kenobi in here, GK. We select, we get all of our assists, and we're all going after Bo-Katan. And this is also before I have Stacking Fervor. This would have been so much easier with Stacking Fervor, increasing our offense with all these assists. This is, though, with Republic Resolve, which probably did help. But to what degree, I'm not certain. But if you had Stacking Fervor, I don't think the Republic Resolve would matter. Now, the next target, you want to take out Grogu. I did do a first attempt with this and did not succeed. But I did learn enough about what the kill order was going to be. Because otherwise, it would get to a point where you wouldn't be able to make progress. I think it's because I lost somebody. I forget exactly what happened. But I couldn't win doing the wrong order. So I wanted to get rid of the healers, because Grogu heals, but also Bo-Katan, with all of the assists happening, her unique is adding a heal. So Grogu, you know what, let's increase the speed of this. Let's go very fast. So Grogu's down, and now Sabine, because she should be quick and easy to take out. But the reason you don't want to go after Baudelaire, and you're going to see this, is after I take out all these other characters, she still takes forever to go down. So GK things get a little scary with. That's part of the reason why I didn't succeed in the previous attempt, was as soon as I lost somebody, it wasn't really going to happen. But this is a way where you can be working on multiple feats at once. Like, we're working on 3 feats right now, and that's always the goal. I want to be efficient with my attempts. I don't want to be losing a bunch of energy. And even though I'm not being super efficient this month in this playthrough, it's giving me the information I need where the next 2 months I'm going to be very efficient. Because I don't want to be wasting crystals. I need them for too many other places. I accidentally Relic 9'd a character today. In the next roster update video, you'll see the character I accidentally brought to R9, and I can't be affording things like that. Those are expensive mistakes. Now, it didn't happen on a character I'm not happy with. It was a worthy character, but still, I had plans for those resources, and now I gotta start over. And here's what I'm talking about. She just takes that pounding. Really wish I had Stacking Fervor before I attempted this. Because it's a long, grueling battle. We eventually get there. But you know what? Let's just stop it. You get the idea. It eventually works. Like, I'll show it from this point. The victory in our feats. Final boss was quite easy. I started with the dark side characters first. I didn't grab a good screen of it, but I was like at 50% energy with the Trench Squad by this point. Or you can see how many feats we made progress on. So like we made 6. Yeah, that's about right. I would have been about 50% at this stage. So I brought in this squad and it just crushed. It worked great. And this is with a low stamina version. No consumables, because I typically try not to do consumables because I would prefer to use those resources to get signal data. And so if you were at full stamina, this would just completely crush it. Takes a little bit longer because I don't. But we have enough control and management here where Gideon's not going to be a threat. We can deal with the buffs. We can ignore taunts. We make plenty of progress. And there's no situation where we're really under threat. So this is what I'm talking about with like this being a very effective squad for this node and why I just relied on it completely. And once Moff Gideon's down, that's it. The rest of this falls very quickly. And then with the next attempt with Boss Nass, I did not even attempt the Gungans. I just knew it was going to work and it was going to just be a waste of my energy. So which is atypical for me. Usually, even if I think it's going to fail, I'd still do it. I think it was late. With Boss Nass, we're just doing the JML trick. Everybody knows this stuff. This is always a great option if you have a light side character in need of accomplishing a feat with, as we do here. Now you could improve this a little bit by bringing in a tank. So if I had like GK in here, or if I had Watt to force the taunt with JML, that would be better. I didn't go for it. Part of that was I think I was actually already done with the CONQUEST Feats at this point. But I just wanted to just finish the Boss Nass feat. I didn't care too much. Although what I should have done is brought in like POW for the accuracy up. I just didn't have a lot. I didn't want to deal with it not working. But now that I'm thinking about it, I should have done it. I just should have done it. Had it not been so late in the evening, I would have done it. I don't think we're going to break down our sectors like we did in the other two versions of this video. I think we'll just leave that out, and this will be it. Like that gets us through those nodes. And while I, again, did not do the middle boss for Hokey Religions, you have a lot of options. But if you're playing the way that I do, save the energy, you'll come back. And I am quite confident that Moff Gideon is going to crush this and accomplish multiple feats for me. Because I almost did it with like 50% stamina or less. So we will wrap it up there. We have the first two sectors already up. Maybe I'll put the card there, maybe I won't. We will do Sector 4 and Sector 5. Maybe those will be a little bit more difficult and there'll be a little bit more interest in this series. But this may die after this week. I don't know if we're getting enough out of this experiment. But we do have recent videos that are much more interesting, like with our list video or with my LVT video for our active territory battles right now. Those I think I'll put up here. Otherwise, I have a roster update video that will be on its way sometime after this video. It's probably going to be the next video after this one. So thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.